Good afternoon, students, uh, and my tigers and tigresses of class 6, both A and B, and with whom I'm waiting for that beautiful boxing competition once the school reopens. Every one of you are welcomed here. So, today we are here to revise our chapters that will come in our CC, and this time the thing that we are going to revise, that is India at Play. Already we have discussed it in the morning. Same thing I'm going to reiterate in a different way. Now, play. It's a nice season to teach it because see, Olympic Games are going on and we are discussing something about play. This is really something. This is that really matters for me especially. Whatever. Uh, It is written in the beginning that why play is so much relevant in our society, and play has been relevant from the very dawn of our civilization. We understood that we have to keep our body as well as our mind fit in order to progress, in order to fight natural oddities. It is from the very beginning that we human beings we are having an unannounced fight, unannounced war against the rules of nature. The thing we have invented, that everything went against the nature. We tried to surmount whatever oddities, whatever obstructions was there lying before us. We have already defied the laws of gravity also. We have reached moon. So there is a continuous war in between us and the natural stability, the order which prevails before us. So here play is such a thing that can give us lifelong lessons, lessons for not to quit, not to leave the ground, and to understand and cope up with defeat. This is something that gives us a practical ground zero examples how to deal with the things that are happening in your life. It's not that every day you will score a century, it's not that every time your team will be victorious, but there will be a time when you will have to just stand and look someone else to lift the trophy. That will give you more impetus to pursue more attentively, more effectively in your future. So these are the things which are expressed here and which are discussed here. There are some names of plays which have become obsolete nowadays. We seldom play these things, but there was a time, even I can remember in my time also when I was of your age, some hundreds of years ago, I think. Okay, so that time when I was of your age, quite a few hundred years ago, we used to play these things which are discussed here: kabaddi, kho, all these things, especially except kusti, of course. It is not my cup of tea, but still, we used to enjoy all these things a lot. Believe me, got nice marks on my back also for all these things sometimes, but we enjoyed it. And one thing you remember that these games, these just didn't pop up out of nothing. There are historical relevance of these games like Kho, Rathera, the custom. There is Kabaddi, which is again mentioned in our great epic like Mahabharata. It was written there Chakravuh, and it was Abhimanyu who entered, but he did not know how to come back from it, and he was trapped there. So even these epics also chronicled the then habits, entertainments, pastime of human beings. And even nowadays, these things are relevant, though they are seldom enjoyed because of the rush which we are having in our generation. I should say, in your generation, at your age, the rush which you are encountering, that was not so in my time. But still, this is the reason that these games are becoming obsolete. These are less played games. But if you go to the rural India, that is Bharat, if you visit there I can tell you for sure that these games are still cherished with equal enthusiasm among the people of that particular region. Another game which is discussed here, that is kabaddi. And remember one more thing, that the kind of questions that will come are like kabaddi. What are the three things that are mandatory for kabaddi? Like breathe control, raiding, dodging. Another game of breathe control is also, that is kho. You need a more powerful lung in order to touch the opponents who are revolving around a rectangular set of players. And it also requires your intellect too. There is another game which is still cherished nowadays also. Sushil Kumar, you can remember it. This is the game of wrestling. You can also remember the film acted by Amir Khan, who chronicled the lives of Babita and Geeta Fogart. Those I should say, those proud daughters of their father, and they are proud daughters of our country too. Yes, the name of the film was Dangal, and it is written there also, Dangal. Dangal is actually the annual tournament that used to be held there, where the wrestlers of that particular region used to take part, and the people used to get a lot of entertainment from all these things. And the places where these kustis, these wrestling was taught by the teachers, that places used to be called akharas. I will build one for all of us, okay, once the school resumes. And there are people who used to take part in the game, they were called palwans, or the wrestlers, today we call it. And these names, Sushil Kumar, Geeta Fogart, Babita Kumari, these things you remember well. Okay, these will be asked in the question. Two types of questions will be there, two sets, two parts. First part there will be contextual questions, and in the next part there will be direct questions. Okay. So one more play that is being discussed here, that is a kite flying, and special attention here which you need to notice, that this play was associated with the royal people of Gujarat. They used to play kites. Even Rajasthan also they used to play kites. And on the occasion of Makar Sankranti, sometimes it is in 15th of August, in Makar Sankranti in Gujarat, people, they enjoy it. The way we enjoy kite flying on the same day, probably, yes, in Makar Sankranti, and in Calcutta and all these urban areas, they enjoy kite flying during Vishwakarma Puja. The whole sky of Kolkata is dotted with different colors of kites during the Vishwakarma Puja. That is the time when Kolkata takes a new government. Okay, the city puts on a new government. It seems to me whenever I visit on that day Kolkata. I visited quite often, especially for that day, to watch something new, something different from that of the whole year in Kolkata. That time, before Puja and after Puja Sundays, this particular period is completely different in Kolkata. Whatever. And the play we most enjoy today, that is Virat Kohli, Saurav Ganguly, Sachin Tendulkar, Mahendra Singh Dhoni, all these great players play that in cricket. But the primitive version of this cricket was Gilli Danda. Same thing was there. You have to hit the gilli with the danda, and if anyone catches it, you are out. If it is not, then you need to run in between two spots, and the place where gilli has fallen, we will measure the place with the danda, and that much point you will have for your pot. I played a lot of this, and not only I hit the gilli with the danda, but also I was hit with the same danda like a gilli, and that was done by my mother. I can remember those halcyon days. Whatever. That's how all the things. Kit Kit is there. Okay, which is there are separate names in separate countries also. See, the same play is being played in several places, in several pockets of the world, and there these games have different names. Those names also will be asked in the exam. like Kit Kit is escargot in England and hopscotch in England and escargot in France, like that kind of thing. So what I believe that if you have already copied the questions and answers which I had sent you, you can revise it on your mobile phone also. But while preparing for the exam means you need to read these lines again and again. Don't go with the questions. Only read the lines. That will help you a lot, I'm telling you. If you read the lines, you can answer all the questions. The more you read, the better you can understand, and the better you can perform in the exam. So that's all for today, students. I shall be waiting for the day of that dangal. All of us will be there. Okay. Tada.